every now and then I take a moment to really reflect and realize that, when everybody on the planet can really focus their intention and attention on a specific thought form, we have the ability to create that. And in essence, that's how this reality is created. We all collectively have these frequencies that we're sending out, and then ultimately those thoughts become reality. What is the law of attraction? The law of attraction is thoughts equals action, action equals manifestation. So the action part has been, overlooked for so long for so many people, because the law of attraction, some people don't take the action. But right now within this reality, our thoughts make the action happen. The action creates the reality. So if we all thought fifth dimensionally, what would our actions be? Right? If 51% of the world all thought fifth dimensionally frequency, let's just say that's the dimension of a high vibe where we don't have these lower frequencies of lust, hate, anger, greed. So we're all at that frequency together. Then when we are all collectively vibrating at that frequency, the world will start reflecting that reality. So what's going on right now, right? We're all focusing on, for the first time ever, right? So there's been things in the past that most of the world had probably thought on, like devastation, destruction, World War I, World War II. But the population of the planet right now is more than it's ever been, one. And then we're all focusing on the same thing, which is this fear of COVID, right? So we're sending that frequency out. So the collective anxiety is increasing, the depression is increasing, the suicide rate is increasing, because this collective anxiety and people are picking up on it. So what's important about today is how many people are counteracting that energy. And this is just one out of many events. I know a lot of other people that are doing these events. And my friend Erin, who's watching right now, she's going to be doing one later on today too, on her YouTube. And it's just because we really need to be putting out that collective energy of the joy, happiness, peace, tranquility, because there is a lot of anxiety in the air. So it's an honor to be here, a part of this. Now, today, this morning, I'm going to be presenting this is the longest set I've ever had as a musician / spoken word artist. And I'm going to be presenting as MC Resonance. That's my name as a rapper. And you can check me out on Instagram and on YouTube. And I go all over the world, and I create spoken word videos of myself at different ancient sites, and you can check that on my MC Resonance, youtube.com/MC Resonance. And how we're going to be doing this today is I was going to curate, because I have hundreds of songs on this computer I'm looking at right now. So I was going to curate, a progression of where we're going to begin, and then to build up the energy until the end. But I thought I'll be more synchronistic today, and I'm going to randomly select poetry. But the cool thing is that I'm going to have the opportunity, which is very rare, to actually dissect and go through what the meaning is behind some of these poems. And just to give you a little 5-minute synopsis really on my journey and how I got to where I am now, and why I write the way I write. So I was born in London, England, right? I was born there. I was raised in an Indian Hindu family, right? My parents, they're pretty Western. They have English accents. But my mom, pretty religious when it comes to, Hinduism and following the rites and traditions. So my entire life, I just did what I was told. It's not that I did not believe. It's just that I just did what I was told. I was a good Indian kid. Do these rites, do these rituals, say these prayers, sing these hymns. So I would do it, but I really had no belief. When I was 12 years old, I moved to California. And at that phase, when I started, transitioning out of middle school into high school, I started having more thoughts, questioning things. In high school, I would hang out with a group of people from all over. It really was like expanding my consciousness and my awareness. And then not until I graduated when I was 18 and I went to college here in California, I started, connecting with all types of other people, listening to a range of amazing music. One of my first bands in college that I really fell in love with was Tool. And not until later did I realize that all the stuff about consciousness, the evolution of consciousness, ascension, UFOs, disclosure was actually in their music. And I wasn't truly 100% even into this at that point. So as I was listening to this music, I was also doing some plant medicine, right? At that point, it was psilocybin. And so I was writing down a lot of my thoughts. These thoughts became poems. I first created my first poem when I was 16. It was called "The Dead and the Dying," and it was the assignment was to actually be pretend you're a World War II poet and write a poem about World War II. So that's what it was. So mine was called "The Dead and the Dying," and then from then onwards, I just kept writing until I was now in high school and I started writing like full on ballad spoken word pieces. And in these poems were information about the universe, extraterrestrials, quantum physics, other planets. And I wasn't aware about any of the stuff that I'm really into now at that point. So I started looking on the internet and researching similar things that I was writing down because, you know, I was on plant medicine sometimes. I was just like having conversations, I was listening to music. So I started researching on the internet. And then what did I find? I found three individuals: Jordan Maxwell, Nassim Haramein, William Henry, all of which I work with now. But at that point, they were like celebrities to me. I was like, they were giving me information about my true history that I had no idea. This took me on a rabbit hole of ancient history, hardcore ancient history, but connected to the extraterrestrial phenomena, ancient aliens, and the spirituality of it all. But I was also very much into the darkness, into the Illuminati taking over us, controlling us. What are we going to do? How are we going to? It was resistance and fight and fear. I was consumed with it from 2000 to 2008. Then I was writing this whole time. So I was writing stuff about some of the poems you're going to hear in a bit here are from that time. And I was writing about the struggle and the hardships and what's going on with the world and how these elite are controlling us and the GMOs and all of this, like chemtrails, right? And then in 2008, my life shifted. I met my soul family. I went to my first open mic and performed a spoken word piece. And the first piece I'm going to do right now, I'm going to take a little pause here because I've been talking for a minute, and I'm going to do that spoken word piece and I'll explain it to you. This is the first spoken word piece that I ever performed at an open mic. I've performed it thousands of times now. And I wrote this one when I was actually on a plane going to India, looking out at the windows, just looking at the clouds, and just having one of those moments, just like flying above, you know, the clouds and just looking at the vastness of Earth, and then having this awareness of extraterrestrials and consciousness and our reincarnation process. And I decided it just came out of me. And this poem, actually, when I wrote it down, I remembered it. It just stuck with me, which is pretty amazing because it's a very long and kind of a complicated one to remember, but it stuck with me. And I'm going to go ahead and perform this, and then maybe afterwards I'll dissect it, and then we'll continue on with the story. So this one here is called The Journey. And what I want to do is I really want to cultivate the energy of today in everything that we're doing. So I'm going to take a little step back right now and slow down my voice a little bit, because now we're going to embark on a journey through the spoken word, into the cosmos, into the multiverse, and then reflected back as a fractal back onto this planet. And then part of what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a little freestyling too. So you probably won't know when I'm freestyling because I'm just going to be adding it to my spoken word pieces. But this is going to be just a free flow, synchronistic day without any curation for me. All right, this is called The Journey. The road goes on for generations. The travelers who disperse their light amongst all the willingly incarnated souls. But what of the ones who didn't know? Amnesia of the internal endowment to reserve a place in the fifth dimension for themselves. The ego took control, and a better life they shall never know. I welcome you, dark one, into the lap of luxury, followed by pain and woes. We all sold our souls to the devil, but the devil exists not. Negative energy we dub as evil creates the demons of whom we are fearful. Take the D from the demon, put it in front of the word evil, and now you have a personified devil. Our thoughts and experiences create a creature that only exists in the mind. Our desires and wants create a full-featured ego that keeps our lower selves from reaching the divine. Intellect, love, and a perfect understanding we will have with one another. I welcome you, my brother, my sister, my lover, to become one, to help me become one, before reality tears me from duality and back in the ether's imagination. You see? I'm the ghost of lives past. Generations have descended to gain these experiences, and I pray the human situation is critical, mind analytical, won't let me forget the fall of angels and demons in this third-dimensional world. Is this planet yours? May I hide amongst the lost souls? Hide out for a bit, drink some liquor, smoke some weed, and step outside for a cigarette? Yes, sure, man. Here's a social security card. You may live. Reincarnated to a kid to live and give back to the society. Am I locked in borders? I smolder, but through the ashes comes a horde of abstract thought. Who is not a ghost of spirit, but just is an enlightened individual. Equality minds that lead us political goals, cynical flow, the pain and woes, and shamanistic pagan rituals. We will resurrect the Messiah in all of us. It's time to trust our brothers and sisters. Unity of mind, conscious awareness in the rise. Yin yang intertwined, masculine feminine lovers intertwined. Spit words from the chakra points in my spine. Relentless, but still find inner peace, hope down the pace of my corrupted mind. Chemtrails, aspartame, fluoride, kept my awareness fried, getting drunk and high. About the constant question of why am I really here? But now I know. Is to help humanity steer into the right direction. For every single one of you, I feel affection. We're in the same situation. So erase the awkward moments. trying to walk around and get that bonus. You remember, the Arcturians will be one of the group of interdimensional beings through mass landings will help us those really So raise your frequency if this is what you want to see. And don't try to break free from the shackles of captivity that we formed in our own mentality, because you and we've always been free. So that one is called The Journey. And what inspired that poem was everything I was really into. You know, we have the ET conversation. We have GMOs in there, chemtrails in there, the reincarnation process. And when I started out saying the journey goes on for generations, I'm talking about the fact that this journey, this cycle, we keep coming back. The journey of willingly incarnated souls, we willingly chose to come here. But what if the ones who didn't know? Amnesia. Reserve a place in the fifth dimension for themselves. They don't even remember it. The ego took control, and a better life they shall never know. I welcome you, Dark One, the darkness, the duality, into the lap of luxury, followed by pain and woes, struggle in this life. We all sold our souls to the devil, the fallen angels. We come down here, the fallen angels, and Lucifer supposedly rules this kingdom until the second coming, when Lucifer has to give the keys back to God. Wait, second, has to give the keys back to God, because it was all an agreement and all in a contract. There was no, hey, I'm going to leave you. I hate you, God. I'm leaving here. The original Gnostic texts, what did they talk about? They talk about Lucifer being the volunteer. God said, creation said, source said, I need a volunteer, please. Can someone go down to earth and give these guys the illusion of separation? And then the fallen angels stepped up. But then along the way, we lost that reality and that understanding. So that's what it goes to. And then the second verse is really about all of the chaos in the world, but what we can do and the steps that we can take in order to shift it. Raise your frequency. This is the reality we want to create. Raise your frequency if this is what you want to see. And don't try to break free from the shackles of captivity that we formed in our own mentality, because you and we are, and we've always been free, even if we don't know it. We had the freedom to come to this planet in the first place. We chose to incarnate here, you know, and it's easier to say than to realize that we chose this experience. But the fact is that we're clocking in a lot of experiences right now and a lot of soul growth on this planet, and I feel it. So this was in 2008. I wrote this. I wrote this actually way before 2008. But in 2008 is when I recited it, and it was the beginning of me going all these slam poetries, open mics, and at the same time, Portal to Ascension was created within those 2 years. And we went from doing one small event every month, meditation, to doing huge conferences by 2012, 3-day conferences on ancient aliens, on consciousness, and so many other topics, sacred sexuality. Now we're at over 110 events a year. But my goal and my dream is to get the support that I need in order to be able to run Portal to Ascension, not just having to do it 100%, so I can do music full time. So at this point, I'm actually creating music right now, and I'm going to be releasing my album hopefully in a few months. And my name again is MC Resonance, and the music is music from the next dimension, because I really feel that part of my call here is to bring down the frequency and the vibration of hip hop for what's to come in this new reality that we're now manifesting. So now we're going to go into a few back-to-back spoken word pieces. And some of these pieces that I'm going to perform, I haven't performed or wrote over 15 years ago. So here we go right now, okay? So this one right here is this one. I wrote this, I think, in like 2004. And this is when it's called Conversation with God. And I was wondering, one verse is me, one verse is God. And it's like almost like I'm having a conversation with God and about all the things that were going through my mind at the time and the responses that I was getting. So here we go, Conversation with God. What is the point of anger? Why do you have to hate me? Can't you forgive me when I'm on my knees begging, please God, hear my cries. Please God, tell me why I can only use part of my mind until the 100th year before I die. We are immaterial. In the universe, we are only one world with billions of other races for you to control. How come my relationship with you is so personal? I see you in full form right in front of my eyes, telling me all superficial existence is a lie. I am trapped, limited by my own mind. So find your meaning to life And when you die, I will hold you by my side, explain to you the divine that you cannot apprehend in a place of signs, money, greed, envy, and political lies. But I want to come right now. Leave this place because I don't belong. What I know makes it hard for me to go on. So wave your wand and facilitate my move into the next dimension with ease, please. I don't want to be in pain when I'm erased from the life full of capitalistic gains. Pain is nothing but a signal being sent to your brain. Can you leave your material life, family and friends and wealth? When you speak of pain, are you not worried about your health? You are stuck in existence full of substance for which you must repent. No, you are not ready to come. Some more years must pass until your life is done. Just maintain the exploration and soon you will find your own pathway, my son. And soon you'll find your own pathway, my son. So that was just a short one there. And just to be showing you and really showing you the journey of where I was and my confusion and how lost I was. And then a few years later, I started realizing a lot of truth about our ancient history and Christianity in general, about the lies and manipulation of organized religion and how it had been fragmented and hijacked, and the whole concept of Christianity in 325 AD, which I'll be touching on in my presentation a little later today. But in 325 AD, Constantine proclaimed himself basically head of the Christian religion by making Christianity the number one religion, the main religion in all of Rome. But he also held something called the Council of Nicaea, in which he had all the high-level Christian people in Christendom that came, and they took all the Gospels, because there were many Gospels. There was no one concise actual Bible at that point, and they created what we now have as the modern Bible. But there were hundreds of Gospels. I don't know if you know anything about Christianity, but Christianity doesn't have hundreds of Gospels. So what happened to the rest of them? Well, they went through them, they sort through them, they took out a bunch of stuff, they erased entire books. Two books that were erased: the Book of Love and the Book of Reincarnation. Right? Book of Love is an interesting book because that book talks about how all is love, and the fear that we've been told by organized religion, complete BS. The Book of Reincarnation, it ties on to the resurrection of Jesus, which really represented the resurrection and reincarnation, and it was all about the fact that the life is immortal. But why did Constantine take that book out of the Bible? Because if you think that your life is like immortal and that you live like forever, you'll be back here and all that, then how is this Roman emperor supposed to control you when you are free from the constructs of society that these elite have created for you? So that was a part of why that was taken out of it. So this one right here is called Political Spirituality. And this basically touches on, the first verse touches on the whole story of Constantine. And then after that, we go into the esoteric of how that manifested within the universe. So here we go. Political spirituality. And this is very interesting because I wrote this one on December 22nd. And the first line is, the sun stops on the 22nd, which is about tomorrow. And I wrote this over like 15 years ago. So it's very, very synchronistic because it's about this time right now. The sun stops on the 22nd, dies in the skies, reflects over the oceans. He walks on water. Didn't you see him telling me how to be like he lived? He died for us, but there's no such thing as us. There's only one covenant. Feel me, show me, teach me. Since 325 AD, Constantine proclaimed himself a part of divinity. Manipulations of Christianity, political organizations creating order from anarchy, placed me at the bottom of the elitist hierarchy. The pyramids created by the Anunnaki, creating the Tower Bible so we can reach God. Why did you leave us here? It's not separate at all. It's all crystal clear. Human flaws portrayed in a concept of divinity. Is politics intertwined with spirituality? Is politics intertwined with spirituality? Galaxy so far away, we intertwine planetary cosmic stargate to seek. Breach walls of society through technology. Spread words to the masses. Eschew gas of volcanic ashes. Cosmic element irrelevant to the reason why we will control your mind with words of divine originality. Originally believed to be one of the free rebels of humanity. It's a fallacy of superficial promises of rules and laws. Find the meaning of a truer cause. Scriptures and prophecies of the second coming of God. The sacred sounds of sacred geometry of fourth dimensional lords. The new age will not be as hard. Thousands of years and revelations with us realizing we are God. Negative energy will be gone. The rise in the feminine energy is due to us becoming brothers. one with a terrestrial mother. No more Jehovah Witness knocking on my door. No more having to get on our knees on the floor. No more someone capitalizing over you because he wants to score. No more pettiness and no more war. No more pimps and street corner whores. No more violence, media manipulations, and gore. So until that day arrives, I will meditate and concentrate my thought and my mind on a manifestation of one love, consciousness, and rhymes. So until that day arrives, I will meditate and concentrate my thought and my mind on a manifestation of one love, consciousness, and rhymes. So this piece here, just to break it down a little bit before we go to the next one, when I say here the sun stops on the 22nd, I'm talking about the solstice. 3 days, the sun stays, 3 days, the sun stays, right? And in the same angle in the sky. That's what happens during the solstice. So if you've ever heard the prophecies of the 3 days of darkness, the 3 days of light, Jericho had 3 days of light so that Moses's followers David was actually head of the army, could go around Jericho with huge sound like trumpets to bring the walls down. Sounds like some type of sonic vibrational weapon right there. And how God helped him by creating 3 days of light. And if you look at it, these are all talking about solstices and equinoxes where the light is the most in the sky or the sun stays at the same angle, right? So the sun stops on the 22nd. I'm talking about the solstice and the sun stopping. Dies in the skies reflects over oceans. The sun dies. The whole solstice, and we'll be talking about this later, is a resurrection of the sun god. Who else is the sun of God? Jesus. Dies in the skies, reflects over oceans. He walks on water. So we just said dies in the skies, reflects over the oceans. I'm talking about the sun god or the son of God. And then I say he walks on water. So the sun reflecting over the ocean is personified through Jesus walking on water. Did you not see him? Jesus. He told me how to be like he lived. He died for us, but there's no such thing as us. He tried to show us that there's only one. So control me. They can try to control me. You try to show me. They try to show me. They try to teach me. They try to teach me. Since 325 AD, they've been doing this. Constantine proclaimed himself a part of divinity. He manipulated Christianity. He made us believe there's only one way to breathe and we had to conform to society. Placed me at the bottom of the elitist hierarchy. The pyramids created by the Anunnaki, if you want to go back into the bloodline, climbing the Tower of Babel. Why did they create the Tower of Babel? The story goes that they were trying to reach the ETs that left them here. They were creating this tower because they had been left with these advanced technologies and without their gods. So climbing the Tower of Babel to reach God. Now, God, why did you leave us here? We're not separate at all. It's all crystal clear. Human flaws portrayed in a concept of divinity. Human flaws portrayed in a concept of divinity. Go throughout all the modern religions. You'll see that all over the place. And then what? It's politics intertwined with spirituality. It's politics intertwined with spirituality. The political movement, all the way back to Rome and even before that, was designed in order to hijack the spiritual awareness that we were all coming to the awareness of once again now. So that's what that piece is really about. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to some back-to-back poems here. We're going to go on a little flow. But first, before I do that, I'm going to do one verse on this one here, which is called Historic Records. And it's just just one little verse that I just wrote, and I'm going to be making it and putting it into a hip-hop song pretty soon. This right here is its own track. Embarking on a journey to abundance from lack. Slacked off, the past was lost, nailed to the cross, historic records I sought for, needing more research to explore the galactic war and how it kickstarted the need for more expression and experience. From the star system of Sirius to the age of Aquarius, falling from grace with angels whose wings were clipped and misplaced on a planetary body. I embody sitting shoddy, driving through the muddy astral planes. My one complaint is that our origins are laced with lies, ego, and blame. My one complaint is that our origins are laced with lies, ego, and blame. So why am I here? Here to shift the frequency from fear into one where we have abundance, that we come from the sun, and that we know this life, it will never be done. Fun is just one component of the experiences we're here to gain, but it's all experiences, so don't complain. Sometimes we're going around the world, feel like we're going insane, but really, the blame game has to stop so that we can have the real conscious hip hop come up into the scene and change the music industry through this type of conscious poetry. From this type of conscious poetry. So this one right here, next one is called Astral Travel. And this one is about my incarnation into this world. So what I did here is I took I personified myself. I imagined myself as a soul and how my journey was into this world. And, I started out, like most of us, as nothing, as something, but nothing at the same time, the paradox. In the center of our galaxy, as etheric matter, where I hadn't even manifested yet. And my soul came out of the center of the black hole, and it made its way through many incarnations into this world. And now I'm here. So this is astral travel. Astral travel, vibrating high at the center of the galaxy. Rematerialize etheric energy, dropping in density, increasing in complexity. To the ends of the spiral I shall go. Planets form all around. I see a water world in a system of soul. My soul speculate in this illusion, a spacesuit made of skin, into a polarized reality of duality, oneness, and sin. Carbon base will join the crystalline children. You see, I slowly descend through the ozone. We'll be born soon, so I enter a womb. Birth cycle almost ends. You see, I rode the unity wave into this dimension, a fabricated fallacy. I forgot when time became linear. Masculine-based society suppressing her. Feminine energy, creating stargates and other etheric tools, going through the wormhole, spinning around like a whirlpool, here to overrule the external in this earth school. From my eyes, I finally lifted the wool. I reincarnated to this planet November 17th, 1982. And that was the day I was born. You guys know my birthday now, so I expect a message on my birthday. I reincarnated to this planet November 17th, 1982. So that's just my journey I felt coming into this reality. See, let's see which one we're going to do here next. Okay, the next piece, I actually just finished writing it, and I presented it for my class that I'm taking with a good friend, Kiyoshi, that does something called Expand Your Expression, in which he has, I think there was like 18 of us in class, and it's about learning rhyme, flow, performance, being able to perform, freestyling, a lot of things that help people who are performing, especially those are in poetry or even rap. So I wrote this one as my final project. And the whole concept of this is it's called time travel. And right now, for a long time, I would contemplate and think to myself that a lot of people tell me that time is speeding up. Doesn't it seem that time is speeding up? Doesn't it seem that time is speeding up? So when I start thinking about this, I was like, well, is time actually physically speeding up, or is the contract of time from our distance from the sun the exact same as always been, but there's two different things happening now? Our consciousness is expanding, and the stimuli that we're presented with are so much more that, 300 years ago, if you're in your own village, you might have just seen a few things a day and not really gone more than a few miles from your village. But now we got bikes, cars, we have internet. There's so much more stimuli. We're being bombarded every single moment. So has time sped up, or is time the same, even though it's not, because it's actually becoming more fluid, I feel. But is it that our consciousness has expanded? And then this whole entire quarantine situation happened. And all of a sudden, many people have a lot more time to dedicate to their passions and hobbies. Some don't, but a lot of them do. And even though myself, I'm doing more work now, because as soon as this whole thing happened, it was a call to action for me. It was like, all right, yep, this is something I've been preparing for. Let's hit the road running, start doing more events, help people and inspire and empower them. So even though I'm doing a lot of that, I still have a lot of time to do a lot of things that I want. And I got kicked off Facebook, which eliminates like 4 to 5 hours a day of Facebooking. So I have a lot of time. And so I realize now that I'm doing so much more than I've ever done, but I still have time to do everything else I want to ever do. And that's cool, because that's my belief. My belief is I have more than enough time to do anything. That's my mantra, because I don't like to limit myself to like, oh, time is actually taken away from situations. So this piece right here has 3 verses. And the first two verses is really about the concept of time and how fluid it is, and how it seems like time is slowed down, or is it sped up, or what is actually going on here. And then the third verse, the first part of it, I'm actually going to time travel to when I was a child, and it's going to be about my journey as a child and the struggles and pains that I perceive that I went through at that point. And then after that, it's really about my healing process, and I'm time traveling to back to the present and into the future for my experience here on Earth. And so this one is called Time Travel. Firstly, let's all just take a few breaths together. If you would like to, just get yourself present. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Let it out of the mouth. And now we are about to embark on a journey through time, through the depths of the cosmos, all the way through the wormhole, to other worlds, to other incarnations, and then back to Earth. Time has slowed down. Or is it our perception of the now? Creating ripples, overcoming obstacles, abundance flows, the end is close, which only means there's a new beginning, spinning like a black hole's event horizon as my chakra points awaken and widen, a solar flare that inspires all men and women to inhale the ether into each of the pores inside of the physical, cells that rely on oxygen and a natural amount of rest. I will forever rhyme until I take my last breath. Time travel with vision, the mission was given, shatter the prison, unlock the chains. Remember the days that came before this eon, this age, when the starships transported our ancestors to earthly place, when we, like the sage, pay homage to the ways in which we came. Time travel with vision, the mission was given, shatter the prison, unlock the chains. Remember the days that came before this eon, this age, when the starships transported our ancestors to this earthly place, when we, like the sage, pay homage to the ways in which we came. To time has slowed down, or is our perception of how we exist in a matrix of disemboweled humans searching for the next cash cow? I'm the sacred cow, worshipped at the top of the mount, spinning around, milk and honey to those who hear the sound. As your chakra points awaken and your soul is found, sun gaze to receive praise from this maze we find ourselves in. To the cellular membrane ancestry passed down to your kin, DNA strands unwind and bend and dissipate upon death. I will forever rhyme until I take my last breath. Time travel with vision, the mission was given, shatter the prison, unlock the chains. Remember the days that came before this eon, this age, when the starships transported our ancestors to the earthly place, when we, like the sage, pay homage to the ways in which we came. Time travel with vision, the mission was given, shatter the prison, unlock the chains. Remember the days that came before this eon, this age, when the starships transported our ancestors to its earthly place, when we, like the sage, pay homage to the ways in which we came. You see, one time, everyone, each day was a struggle, trying to juggle my higher and lower self without assistance, no help. I'm just a lost soul in this world, just a kid in this world who knew he didn't belong. I came from another planet, another home, but home was all I ever wanted. Looking for it in the friends I loved, I confronted fears that were ingrained in my soul from a childhood when I didn't know how to say no. My trust in those were violated. It took decades before I owned that it wasn't my fault. That it wasn't my fault. I didn't know better, had no direction, felt disconnected. I could melt and vanish. No one would miss this misfit. I wish this life started different until I shifted the imprisonment of my own brain. I was a slave to the belief systems and imprints, so I went on a search for the root of all religion to see why we were dismissed kids by the gods above. On a search for the pure, unconditional love, traveled the depths of space with the books and videos that made me realize humanity's soul was so deep. I began researching Earth's true ancient history and spirituality, minus the organized piety that got all these MCs on their knees. I no longer beg God, please, please help me. For I have always been free, moving to a higher density, providing the world with non-stop free energy. Time travel with vision. The mission was given. Shatter the prison. Unlock the chains. Remember the days that came before this eon, this age, when the starships transported our ancestors to the earthly place, when we, like the sage, pay homage to the ways in which we came. Pay homage to the ways in which we came. When we, like the sage, pay homage to the ways in which we came. So as I said, that one is called Time Travel. And just to break down a little bit of it all, kind of show you my journey. Because what I like to do and what is cool with this right here is I'm having the opportunity to do kind of like a mini lecture as well as dissect my journey here and how I progressed into where I am now. And if you, let me just go to this part right here. After that, it wasn't my fault. So I did not know better, had no direction. I felt disconnected. I could melt. That's how I was for a lot of my life. I felt like I didn't belong. I was disconnected, and like I could just melt and vanish. No one would miss this misfit because that's all I ever was. I wished my life started different until I shifted the imprisonment of my own brain. It took a long time. It took a lot of journey. It took a lot of modalities. It took a lot of Vipassana 10-day silent meditation retreats. It took a good amount of plant medicine, but I shifted it, and I'm still shifting. I was a slave to my own belief systems and imprints. So I went on a search for the root of all religion. Why did I create Portal to Ascension? For that line right there. I wanted to know what the root of all religion was. Why is there so many texts that have the same exact stories, but no one ever talks about the similarities? Everybody's focusing on the differences. Like, how many people know that Krishna and Christ are the exact same person? And I don't mean that metaphorically. I mean that Krishna was born to a virgin mother. Krishna had a carpenter dad. Krishna was known as the savior to his people. Like, every single thing on Jesus's life checks off for Krishna's life. And then you go back to Greece, and then you have Christos, which was the exact same person, but in Greek times. So to me, I was like, wait a second, did this Jesus guy even exist? Or did someone else before him exist and the story was taken? Or was it that the universe is creating the same thing? History is repeating itself, and the same kind of energetic makeup, same kind of energetic soup that created Jesus is coming down to earth. And because of this, I wanted to find out the root of all religion. Is there a common origin story? And a little plug for my Creation Stories webinar. You can go, actually, for free, portaltoascension.org, sign up, watch my 3-hour presentation on the origins of humanity and the origin stories of humanity, in which the whole entire presentation is me trying to find the root of all religion and what I found out instead. But I was trying to find out the root of all religion because I wanted to see why we were dismissed kids. We're kids in the eyes of God, right? The universe. So by the gods above, now we're talking about the alien, lowercase g. On a search for the pure unconditional love. I didn't even know. The whole time I was just on the search for the pure unconditional love, but I had no idea what I was looking for. So what did I do? I traveled the depths of space with the books and the videos that made me realize humanity's soul was so deep. Shout out to Jordan Maxwell, William Henry, and Nassim Haramein for helping me in the start of my process, right? And then made me realize, the books and videos made me realize humanity's soul was so deep. So what did I do? I began researching Earth's true ancient history and spirituality minus the organized piety. Spirituality, I call myself, if anybody who needs me to explain what spirituality means, I said I'm a non-dogmatic spiritualist, because Christians think they're spiritual, Hindus think they're spiritual. I don't have dogma, and I don't follow one single sect or religion. I just follow the vibration that leads me to the next destination, So spirituality minus the organized piety. That got all these MCs on their knees. I'm just throwing in MCs there for the hip hop thing, but got all these people begging on their knees. I no longer beg God, please help me. For now I realize I've always been free. We're moving to a higher density, and we're providing the world with nonstop free energy. So that's just the last half of the third verse right there. And that one is going to be my first fully produced track, hip hop track. It's going to be pretty epic, and I'll be releasing that probably within a week or so. Okay, moving on to the next poem. And I just want to say, we only have 8-9 minutes actually, so I'm just going to keep going. I was going to bring on Omar to see if there's any comments, but I think I'll just continue here and do a couple more. All right. So now the next one is called Fragmentation. And the way I divided this spoken word piece is into 3 parts. We have the void, we have the darkness, and we have the light. The void is before all physical matter was created, before there was history, before there was time, before there was wormholes to even come out of. This is the void. The darkness is the duality, the amnesia, the forgetfulness, the coming down to this earth and being consumed with, the anxiety of just living here, right? And I have to say, not everybody has that experience, but there is a lot of duality. And when you forget your connection to source, and I go through times where I forget it all the time, I'm consumed in this world too. But when you forget your connection to source, anxiety can take hold, and then you can get lost into a downward spiral of darkness. So we have the void, when nothing and everything exists. We have the darkness, and then we have the light, which is where we're going to right now. So it's 3 parts. So here we go. This one's called Fragmentation. The void. In the beginning, There were no words, no concept, no winning, no place, no time, no description, no label, and no finishing until awareness became conscious of itself, separation from source, no east, no west, no south or north, not to mention there never existed a dimension or ascension or physical lessons except for the 0 point. There was no Christ to anoint, singularity, energy, frequency raised vibrationally, paradoxically into limitation of what only the five senses can see. No linearity, no anarchy, no galaxies, no nebulae, no jobs, no nature, no materialism, and no political lies until darkness finally fragmented from the light, using free will to see through the night. The darkness. I take my anxiety pill full of fright, in my bed, insecure for the conspiracy that might take over my mind, control me with a chip inside, scared and full of fear. That is the reason why we are here. To the star system of Arcturus I stare and recite my cosmic prayers. Self-empowered, the fabric of victim consciousness I tear. Light. You see, there's no reason to worry. The destination has been chosen. It's the journey that counts. Every day we transcend, no doubt, living in the now, realizing it's all a projection of the co-creation of our own subconscious mind, channel energy through the heart, remembrance of the divine, take apart my ego and restart my life in any moment. I'm going home, traveling across the black intergalactic ocean, took the psychedelic potion, now I'm awoken. To the streets we take the spoken word, fly high, levitate the God inside, I'm free like a bird, cosmic oneness integrating in my being. A full spectrum being, in alignment with the purity confined in regions of frequencies inhibit what we are seeing. I shift what I choose to believe in. Fuel my light body for the ether I am fiending. Fuel my light body for the ether I'm fiending. So the first one there is just the void right there. It's just like nothing exists. There's no place, no time, no description. There was not even a dimension or ascension or physical lessons, right? But all was well. There was no Christ to anoint. These are all constructs of our own reality on earth. And then the darkness, that's when I was like 8 years of my life in darkness, anxiety, full of fright, in my bed and insecure from the conspiracy that might take over my mind. They might control me with a chip inside. I'm scared and I'm full of fear. That's the reason why I'm here. But to the star system of Arcturus, I always would stare. And I recite my cosmic prayers because I knew self-empowerment. So the fabric of victim consciousness, I tear. That was my 8 years of that. And then the light, 2008 till now. And I didn't even need to tell you guys about the light because we all know what's up with that. And that's why I ended with fuel my light body for the ether I'm fiending, because I truly am fiending for that consciousness all the time. So now I'm going to do 2 more spoken word pieces. We got around 4 more minutes here. And I want to leave it off on a really meditative one that puts us in the zone for the rest of the day. So I'm leaving that one to the last. This one right here is called, what is it called? It is called Road to Zion. And I wrote this one around 14, 15 years as well. In this world of calamity, with organized piety making fools drop to their knees, you see, we be the free. People see right in front. Time for the peripheral, narrow-minded ignorance. Be the bigger man and see the benevolence. The interdimensional energy of love holds my truth above other dimensions. I'm the anti-level vacuum being sucked on with the pull of a black hole, recycling this universe that shows acceptance. Acceptance by knowing that all I want to do, what all the government makes me feel I do is a sin. Straight fear-mongering. So I write with a pen to show beginning to end. Just know we chose to be here. Tear perception of fear. And remember, Jah will be waiting there. It's time to believe in yourself. To forget monetary wealth. To concentrate on your health. I felt lost, stones pelt, body bloody, judgment by those who say they love me. But what does love mean within these lower frequencies of emotions, causing mental erosions? I'm frozen in a rapidly moving time, with holes in the heavens, flow of energy from realms of divine essence. These beings think that we're under their guide to receive lessons of ascension? No. The gods we show, the biblical portrayal of Jesus in pagan rituals, the deities who we worship and bow, ask for forgiveness, and how can we reach the kingdom of heaven? Away from ourselves. Looking externally for a personified God, indemnify soul of the old ancestry of the duality of friends and foes. Know this, the energy level will persist. The new world order doesn't matter one bit. No one world without singularity. Physical perceptions manifest in realm of spirituality. No order, pure anarchy to set all humanity in 13 different third-dimensional planetary systems free. So follow me, and together we will transcend and ascend to the 4th density. So I wrote that one to Damian Marley's song Road to Zion, because I love Damian Marley. And that's what came out. Doesn't sound anything like that or reggae, but that's what came out of it. It was the theme of the energy of Road to Zion, and it's basically just my journey in this world of calamity with organized piety, making all these fools drop to their knees. We be the free. People see right in front. All we do, the peripheral, narrow-minded ignorance. Seeing right in front creates an ignorance where you can't see around you. Be the bigger man and see the benevolence. The interdimensional energy of love holds my truth above other dimensions. You see, I and you, we are the anti-level vacuum being sucked down with the pull of a black hole, recycled in this universe that shows acceptance. I know acceptance by accepting the predicament that I am in. With all the government made me think I do, is all I do is a sin. So that's straight fear mongering. So what do I do now? I write with a pen to show a beginning to an end, to know we chose to be here, tear perceptions of fear, and remember Jah will be waiting there. And now here we go into the last spoken word piece, one that I do quite often because it helps me meditate and get into this zone. But let's take a little moment here again and center ourselves. Open ourselves up to this energy. As I said earlier, there's a collective anxiety going on in the world. For the first time ever, we're all in the world pretty much focusing on the same exact thing, right? So we want to shift that energy with the vibration. So here we go. Meditate and levitate is what it's called. Meditate and levitate. Waves of frequencies resonate higher. I'm connected to the provider, source of cosmic energy. We're going to be one single entity, expansion remedied, oneness must breathe, exhale and let free, consciousness to be, experiences of you and me. Souls of interdimensional beings to feel, hear, and see this third dimensional planetary existence. All time can be found in one instance. In this realm of linearity, atoms in anarchy, quantum polarity, the epitome of creation, facing our egos, acquiring patience, waiting to let go of our nations, and join the federation of souls that will take us to the fifth world. Love you all. Thank you so much. I'll be back on at 3 today.